Hi, I'm Susan Roberti, and welcome to Let's Talk Tail Waggers. We find the most perfect place in the world to come to, and when you meet these gentlemen, you're going to fall in love with them, I'm telling you. But before I get started, I want to say that BPTV is all volunteers, and you are more than welcome to come up and do a show, do camera. And I have my camera person here today. Thank you, Aaron. And as you know, Aaron has been taking me places here for a while because I'm getting older and I don't drive so well. So I thank her. I thank her from the bottom of my heart. And you will be loved. And even if you just want to do a bake show, you know, on how to bake a cake or how to braid your daughter's hair, anything. Any kind of show, once you do it, you'll be hooked. It's just so much fun, and you meet so many people by just doing a show. So now I'm going to introduce, or they're going to introduce themselves, and I promise you, you'll fall in love with them. And your name is?
I'm Tim Denham.
And I'm Rick Astle.
How did you get started?
We fell in love with Puerto Rico. We already had a couple dogs,
Yeah.
and we went back to Puerto Rico and rented a car and decided to venture off to the rainforest. And we were expecting to see monkeys or tropical birds, or we saw nothing. We heard frogs, coqui frogs. They go, coqui, coqui, coqui. But all of a sudden, we see this dog, Roxanne, looking scared and you know, shaking every time a car drove past her. And we pulled over, and there was a fence in between us and her, and she didn't trust us enough to come beyond the fence, and we didn't have any food or anything to lure her. So we left. There wasn't much we could do about it. We went to the rainforest. We spent a few hours there, and on our way back to our hotel, a few miles down the same road where we had already seen her, there she was again. And this time we were closer to a store, so I ran in and we got Slim Jims and cookies and water, and I was able to lure her. I would throw her a piece, and she would take it and turn around and start walking away from me, and I'd run to the other side and then give her, and then finally I was able to pick her up, and as soon as I picked her up, she just pressed her head into my chest like with relief, and she wasn't afraid anymore.
Yeah.
And you could tell that she must have been loved at one time, and we have no idea why she was on the street, but she was on the street now. So
And that's how you got your first?
that was the first one, and we only had a few dogs, so it was like, okay, we were able to keep her.
Yeah.
And that was in the winter. It was 5 years ago this February.
It wasn't that easy. Once we got to the vet,
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
they really were discouraging us to try to get her home. They didn't think it was possible, and we just were pushing and pushing. And then actually our friend there, Alexia, that she now owns a clinic that she helps all of our Puerto Rican dogs, Alejandrino veterinary clinic there. She does great work. She helped us with her. They didn't think that we would be able to get her home because she needed to stay to get treatment, and then it was too cold here in the dead of winter in February to fly her.
They wouldn't fly her.
So we had to just patiently wait, and they had her ready to go, and they were gonna drive. They drove her to the airport, but it never got warm enough in Pittsburgh to fly her because she had to go cargo. So we had one day. We had a 1 day window where it was warm enough in DC. So we said send her. So we just hopped in the car. We drove to the airport there, and we picked her up there. And
Was she happy to see you?
She was.
Yeah, she definitely was happy, but she came out of that crate looking around at
Yeah,
all the
'cause you
sounds and the
imagine
noises, and she
noise.
probably was thinking, "What? This feels different.
Yeah.
This feels different
And
than
being in that
80
airplane
degree
with that
weather."
noise, I mean, that
Yeah.
roar, you know, she
Yeah.
probably was frightened to death.
We thought that she would not know what to do at all with snow and ice. But the first thing she did was she walked over on top of a frozen pond and did her business.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Oh my.
She's
So
just
you were the beginning
She-
of the beginning.
She was the beginning, and she so far was probably one of our most expensive, because we were leaving to come home the next day, and we couldn't take her. And they couldn't get her healthy enough and a certificate to prove that she was healthy enough to fly for like 4 or 5 days. And then we had to wait for that 50-degree weather in DC.
The
So it was
star.
like $1,200 later, this little street dog between vet bills and airplane rides.
Oh, but the blessings.
Yeah, oh,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
she's
I had one that had a toe. It hurt its toe, and I took it to an emergency thing because it was in the night, and they kept it overnight. And oh my God, the bill! And then when we got it home, I took it to our vet, and he said they didn't do anything to it. All they did, because it was pulled out,
Yeah.
it needed the rest of it to come out.
Okay.
And that we always said that was the $500.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
The golden toe.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. You won't go to the doctor, but you take them.
Right.
It's the truth. So how about you? What do you think about all this?
It's grown. It was like really organic. The whole thing just happened. It happened with her. And the more I think that we learned from the experience with her and the things that made it so difficult, it wasn't difficult to get them on the plane or to get them healthy, but whenever reaching out to organizations that were out there that were willing to do it, like for her, they wanted like upwards of $3,000 just for her flight to help you to get it out of there. And I think that because you're on an island and people are not really, I mean, a lot of people don't understand that Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it isn't as hard as you would think. And I think if people were more educated, they could help with the problem on the island, because at this point they have upwards of 300,000 strays on the island. And the
Puerto
island,
Rico's the size of Connecticut, so
Yeah.
it's a state.
so they, yeah. So it's like you, as you learn more and more, like they say when you spay one female and you neuter one male, in 6 years, as in those conditions, you've saved 67,000 dogs from
Cats
being
and
on the
more,
street.
too.
Yeah, and so I think if people were more educated on what can happen there, like the people that we see at the salon are so generous. And the more that you talk to them about things and the conditions there, I mean, with these last 3 that we brought back, the people that just came and donated and got involved with their story and made sure that like we had what we needed to help to get them home and get them
It
safe.
surprises you, huh?
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
it's very heartwarming.
Yeah.
It's also the key factor in that is the salon, and that, well, first of all, we have a lot of clients and friends that come there, and it's really easy, and a lot of people some of the things that come out from certain people are just questions about why we choose Puerto Rico and instead of choosing here. And like Tim says, like, we're not opposed to helping dogs anywhere. We've actually, since we started Dad's, we've had people around that were in situations where their dogs need to be rehomed, and we've found new homes for dogs here. But the thing with Puerto Rico is we love Puerto Rico, and from an organic nature, it's just grown from there. And the salon fits in perfectly, because even with her, when we first took her, it was like every time she would get on somebody's lap and like lean into them, you would just see their face change, and they were like, "Oh my God, I need Roxy in my life." And everybody was like, "I need her, I need her." And then we're like, "Well, wait, there's other Roxys down there. Like we could do this. Like this could happen. This could be a real thing." And so just going down there, and Puerto Rico is just an amazing place. And
Well, do they have an animal rescue there
They
at
do.
all?
They
That
do,
they can
yes.
spay them?
well, they have
Not-
in every county there in Puerto Rico, by law they have to have an animal shelter, but due to the massive nature of the homeless dogs there, 90% of them are put down when they make it to the shelter
Oh, sure.
because they're
yeah.
so overwhelmed.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess they just don't have the resources.
You know, it's almost to the point when we come across them like that, and it's usually just because we're on vacation, we have the time. You know, if we had a week off in Pittsburgh and we were over in Lawrenceville and we saw a dog that looked like something's not right, we would do something about it.
Sure you
We're
would.
doing something about it because we have the time when we're on vacation and we happen to like Puerto Rico and there
Yeah.
happens to be a lot of dogs there that need help.
Yeah. Well, that's lovely.
Yeah.
It really is.
We have to assess it too. Like sometimes we see them and like, oh, this dog looks like it's being fed. It looks like it's happy.
Uh-huh.
Like,
A
that's-
bum.
no,
Yeah.
there was the two puppies. Their father still lives on the corner down there,
Yeah.
and he's friendly. He let me check his teeth. He's happy, but he's impregnating the females all the time, and it just
Boy,
keeps
if you could
continuing.
get him.
I was gonna get him, but there was something about him that I was afraid to pick him up because I kind of thought that might be his pushing point,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to get bit, and I just so
He's older, and we've seen aggression from him, not towards us, but
Yeah, he's the
towards the
dominant.
other dogs because he's the dominant in the group, and we've seen that he has it in him. So that needs to be like a little more careful
yeah,
situation.
and his head looks like an Akita head. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess with that Akita head.
Well, you know, your feelings about something is always right when
Yeah.
it comes to animals.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah.
And if you have that feeling, then as they know that you're afraid of them,
Yeah.
you know, it's back and forth. So if you feel that you must respect him, then you respect him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
he's respecting
I
you.
I think we took all his females away from him.
I think so. Yeah.
So I'm not sure what he's doing these days, but we also have a feeling that that's a popular spot for people to say, this is where we can get rid of our dog, and people will feed them because fishermen come, throw them
Yeah.
scraps, things like that. So I guess if their dog becomes too much, then
Don't you wonder how somebody could give their dog up?
Yeah.
yeah, but I also don't know what it's like to live through a hurricane. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
they did have that terrible thing.
Those people probably, there's a lot of them that can barely take care of themselves, and then there's probably just a lot of people that are irresponsible. We don't
Yeah.
really know for sure.
Well, maybe they got washed away from their parents and stuff too.
I think there's a different mentality that happens on the
Yeah.
island as well. So I don't think they're consciously like mistreating, like, well, there are some people that are, but just the culture there is, there's so many of them that it's almost like they're shooing them away with their feet. It's almost to them, they look at it like they're getting overrun with this problem.
Yeah.
So they're not really getting in the right way to help them. They're just,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, I don't even know what to compare it to, but it's like some people with deer here or things like that, you know, that we have a ton of, and that, you know what I mean, that people feel that they overrun,
Yeah, some people will feed deer, some people will do everything they can to keep them out of their garden.
and
Yeah,
some say
yeah.
don't.
Well, our communities don't allow it. you know,
Yeah.
to have them, and if somebody sees a loose one running around,
Yeah.
they could call and someone can come and get it.
Yeah.
But like you said, they're just overrun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the more the puppies they have, the more the,
I think some people own them but don't have a fence and don't keep them leashed. It's
And
like,
they
oh,
don't
that's
own
my
them.
dog. He comes and goes as he pleases.
Or they own them, and spay and neuter
Alex,
just
come
is
here.
not,
Come here, Alex.
spay and neuter is not as popular there among people, so they get the pets, but they don't, and
Yeah.
sometimes, our friend down there, she said, oftentimes, once the mother has puppies, there is an opportunity to sell puppies once you have them. Then people will buy the puppies, but once those puppies come and they can make money off them, sometimes they get rid of the mom. Like, they'll take the mom and they'll just drop her off because
Yes, she
Aw.
had obviously had a litter of
Yeah.
puppies,
you have babies.
and we have no idea where they were. But because she had traveled miles from the first time we saw her to the second time we saw her, we knew that she must have been disconnected from the puppies.
Wow.
And the funny thing too is how relaxed she is right now.
Yeah.
You touch her with your foot, she leaves the room. She has foot phobia. So we figured she had been kicked a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Now this guy here,
This is Kinju. We adopted Kinju at South Hills Pet Rescue, and once we saw them on the news, Tim was like, he saw the white one and he said, "We're gonna go."
I said, I know what I want for Valentine's Day. I want one of those Korean dogs.
He said, "We're just gonna go see them," which
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, in our language means, yeah, we're getting a new dog. But we saw the first one. She was a girl, and she came out and she threw her paws over my shoulders and was like kissing me, and we were concerned that the pack would not really take to that very well if she was so attached to us and was not acknowledging them.
yes.
So they showed us this guy, and he was not having it. He was very standoffish with us, and
Now he's a Korean dog.
he's a Korean dog. They saved him from the Korean meat trade. He was not a fan of humans, but he did like dogs. So we decided that, well, we have enough dogs, so we'll bring him into the mix. And it was, for 3 days, it was a lot harder than we had imagined.
Right.
He was really like giving me like little warning nips on my hand when I was trying to get him, and he slept our first night. He was in the bedroom and he put his back against the wall, and he sat there and his head was dropping, and he
Yeah,
was
he
going down, and
protected
then he was
himself.
coming back up.
Yeah.
He did that for 3
It
days.
took him about an hour before he would make it to the floor
Yeah.
and be relaxed enough to lay down to go to sleep. He was like falling asleep sitting up.
Yeah.
Oh my.
3 days later, I was pretty discouraged. I was like, I don't think he's ever really gonna.
Well, do you
take-
think that Korean being brought forth, that in dogs getting helped, because we have a rescue, South Hills Pet Rescue,
Yeah.
and they have somebody that goes over,
Yeah.
and gets them,
Yeah.
and then brings them back, and he'll go and get them, and I
Yeah.
think he's done like 70 of them so far.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
yeah, and it's opening people's eyes up to what is going on.
Yeah.
But they eat them.
Yeah.
So actually, we eat cows, and they
Right.
probably think.
Yeah.
So, but
Right.
the abuse is just unreal.
Yeah, it was
really.
strange to learn
And you're
that.
such an intelligent creature. That's what hurts me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It was strange to learn that they don't really like them to leave Korea. Like they don't like them coming over to here because they believe that they belong on the island. And even in South Korea, that's where he came from. They have an underground. It's illegal there. It's illegal for them
Yeah. Oh,
to
okay.
be used as meat, but it's an underground meat trade. That's the problem. So when those things happen and those are destroyed.
Now, what about this guy down here?
He was our second one. When we fell in love with Puerto Rico and we found her, we started to consider like what would it be like to own a second place in Puerto Rico, and we wanted to see what it was like in the summer because was it unbearably hot?
Yeah,
So we went down in August, just 6 months after we found Roxanne, and the first night we got there was like a torrential downpour, so there wasn't much to do. So we said, well, let's take a reminiscent drive. I want to actually figure out how far Roxanne had traveled from the first time we saw her to where she was a few hours later. And in that drive, out of the side of my eye, I saw this little black spot.
I love it.
He was laying in the sand eating sticks. He was 3 pounds.
Oh.
I got out. I snatched
He
him
knows
up.
you're talking about him.
All of a sudden, dogs were coming out of the bushes, and I was like, I know this is one of your puppies, but we'll give him a better life. And then he was so easy to put in a carrier
Sure.
under the seat in front of you and just bring back. And we were already familiar with the vet, so he was easy. So we refer to him as what? Rescue number 2. Yeah, because we already had a couple dogs, but they weren't rescues per se. And so Alex is our rescue number 2.
And just think, you never get to sit by yourself ever again.
No, you don't get to do anything by yourself ever again.
Alex is named after our vet in Puerto Rico.
Oh.
Her name is Alexia.
Oh.
We think she likes that.
Now, how did he know that we were talking about him?
did.
I'm
Oh, he
serious.
knows his name.
Yeah.
When we feed them all at the same time, but when it's their bowl, we say their names.
Oh.
Say
Yeah.
Dundee,
Yeah, and then they don't fight.
Yeah, and they all get different amounts and different types and all that good stuff that they need. So,
And this little one, she wormed her way into the picture.
oh yeah,
Well, he had lost a little white dog, and then I saw her come up on Craigslist, and it looked a
Yeah.
little, it looked like the perfect dog for him.
Yeah.
And I decided to surprise him for Christmas. To
And
replace
we had
him.
another one that was sitting back behind the pillars,
yeah.
but he
Oh,
left.
that's Golly.
oh golly's on
No,
the
she's up there.
She knows.
She's
Oh.
laying real flat into that furry carpet. She's rescue number 9. Rescue number 8 was the first dog I ever really groomed. She was completely matted, and
Ooh,
it took
yeah.
2 hours. He held her, and
Yeah.
I would take a big ball and I would look and see if there would only be like 6
Yeah, 'cause
hairs.
you can't.
But it was the first grooming or a hairdo I ever gave where I got kisses the entire time.
Yeah.
2 hours of kisses.
See, they just know, they do.
Yeah.
When people say that, there have been people that made comments online and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like there are people that need help, and why are you
Yeah.
not? And I just
Or
like
why
to.
are you helping
I
dogs from Puerto Rico?
I like to
instead of
ask them. I
here?
like to say to them like, I just like to respond if you have opportunities where you're doing something and you need my help. I would love to join. So I mean, keep me
That's-
informed of what you're doing, and if you need help or there's anything that we can do, no matter what you're doing to better the planet, to better people's lives or
Exactly.
animals' lives, then I'd love
And that's what I
keep me
tell
in the loop.
people. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now we're out on the porch, and this house is so beautiful. And the wind is just roaring through these pine trees. It's absolutely exquisite. It's just a perfect place to have your dogs, huh?
That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons we
Yeah.
bought it.
Yeah.
You feel like the whirlwind and you landed in the perfect place. Now, you have a business, and I want to hear about your business.
Well,
Well,
I'm Tim Denham
this is
of Denham and Company. Rick and I own that together downtown we're just sort of catty corner from the Fairmont Hotel.
Uh-huh.
And one of the pluses about being a dog lover with a business is I get to decide that we can take our dogs to work and interact with clients and the puppies, and
Oh,
everybody
how
seems to love it.
sweet.
I think it's what actually made this whole thing work. And when clients come to the salon, they're always like, "Your dogs are so well behaved. Your dogs are amazing. My dog's not like that." And I feel like, especially with the rescues, they went from having like no human love whatsoever, and then they have a new face coming in the salon, smiling at them and loving them, and
Yeah.
and they just, I think they
It's-
react to it. They-
Everybody's voice is so welcome.
yeah, so they learn quickly like how much love they can actually get, and it just brings out the best in them. And they're amazing from the start too. This little girl is she's been to the salon recently.
Oh, for goodness sake. And do you do all women? Do you do men?
Oh, it's men and women.
Oh, is
Yeah,
it?
it's probably 60% women, 40% men.
And how long have you had that?
I've had this salon for 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden,
Right.
you're in the
right. I was cutting hair for like 35 years downtown, but been an owner for like 25.
Wow.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden along comes one dog, and then comes another dog, and comes
Yeah.
another dog.
right?
Yeah, well, I'm quite sure that you're going to be fine. And then what's this little girl's story?
Her story was, she was the third that we found on our last trip, and
They go to Puerto Rico. And before we start, I want to say too that they do adopt dogs. So if you would happen to see a dog that you like or whatever, there'll be a telephone number, name at the bottom, and you could call them and talk to them about adopting them. Go ahead about the little girl.
So she was the third that we found on the last trip, and the first one was already had a home here. Her mom was already preparing for her to come back. And finding her, the third one, she was looked to be in bad shape. She was very dehydrated and malnutritioned and kind of wobbly walking around, and we weren't quite sure. But once she got to the vet, we thought, a couple good meals and a little bit of medicine, but it turned out that she had a few more things wrong than we thought. She had hookworm, and she was anemic and malnutritioned, and
God.
she had Lyme disease, and then we learned that she actually had heartworm. So we weren't sure what would be the end result of that situation, and we went back and they did a blood test, and they said that her blood was great, and there was really, aside from all those things, she could be on the road to health. It would just take the right people and
feed her.
the right
Right.
family or person to adopt her, and
And somebody that was willing to pay the veterinarian bills.
yeah, because it
Yeah.
can be pricey. So we said, well, let's give her a
She's
shot.
shy.
She is.
She just needs a real calm, quiet
They
Yeah.
call her-
environment where she feels safe.
Yeah, Golly, how did you give her that name?
When I look at her, I just think, oh, good golly. She
Yeah.
had just these pathetic eyes.
Yeah, she
but
does.
She just screamed, please help me.
Yeah, yeah.
And people are always welcome. Seems like we have a nice rotation of new dogs that are up for adoption. So if they want to even stop in the salon to say hi
Yeah.
or pet a puppy when you're downtown.
Or just
Yeah.
go on our Facebook page,
Yeah.
Dads to the Rescue of Homeless Pups, and you'll see
Yeah.
what we have going on a daily basis.
Amazing, isn't it?
We
We don't have a dog in need. We have interesting things that we like to post, like tips for welcoming a new dog into a new home and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I commend you too, and I'm so happy that it started out without you realizing, and all of a sudden you turn around.
Yeah, we didn't know where it was going to go, and people came through.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and I promise you, they always will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything will become nice to you.
Yeah.
Believe me.
And you guys came all this way.
Yeah.
Come out and see the
Hey,
dog
look
range.
at, yeah, and I'm glad that we did.
Yeah, we are too.
It's that time. I hate to say goodbye. We have had the most loveliest, kindest, wonderfulest visit to these young men. And the world is blessed to have them. I hope you get on their internet and get to know them, and if you need a dog, a puppy, or they have adult dogs, and they're, as you saw all through the show, they're just kind and good dogs, and they'll always find one for you if you need a puppy or an adult dog. But just remember, there are good and wonderful people out there in the world. Sometimes my heart gets sad hearing about all the bad things that go on. But then I meet these two young men, and I'll be flying high for weeks. It's been such a beautiful and good and kind and wonderful show. So don't forget your humane societies. They need blankets, towels, sheets, and it's springtime, so you know what that means, babies. And they'll need lots of towels and lots of, even if you want to send them shampoos, anything, or money is always nice. And don't forget the South Hills Pet Rescue. They're my heroes too. And like always, I love you. And thanks from all the tail waggers.
I reference the South Hills Pet Rescue a lot through the process of going there and getting Kinju. Just the level of professionalism and what they actually do is inspiring. We took 3 visits there before we actually went home with him. They made sure that we got to meet him, and then we filled out the application process, and then
we
reached back
introduced
out,
our
and then we
dogs.
introduced our dogs and took them there to go and to meet Kinju to make
Well,
sure everything was correct.
We're praying that they get a new building, because that
Yeah.
building out there is just about
Yeah.
at it.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what,